You should always have just one strategic direction for your operational excellence program. Hello, I'm Tom. Welcome to my channel where we make operational excellence practical for you. And as this is the first video of 2025, I want to wish you a very successful and joyful new year. And I want to start off this new year strong with something that is super important for setting up or maintaining or whatevering your operational excellence program. Any business needs to do this, but especially if you are running the CI program, the Lean program, the OpEx program for your organization, make sure that your management commits to one out of volume, cost, or value as the strategic focus for your program. Now let's dive into those a bit, but that is so super important. That is the message of this video. Your management team, probably together with you, should pick only one of these three to be the focus for your OpEx program. Now, of course, they're all important, right? Any company needs to maintain their volumes, probably grow a little bit, needs to keep their costs under control, and probably reduce their costs a little bit, and needs to be delivering value and hopefully increasing value a bit. So the first reaction that senior management or any management will have is, no, you need to improve them all, right? We want to do more volume at lower cost with better quality and lead time and what have you. Yes, but not is the focus of your operational excellence program if you want to have a successful program, because a successful program needs to focus. So what are these? I think volume sort of speaks to itself, right? It's the ability at least to generate more volume. If you look at manufacturing as a whole organization, it's also selling more, but making or doing more of what you are already doing and selling it. Right? Making it without selling it, by the way, is very, very bad volume. So this is only useful if you have more client demand and can then make it. Because if you make it, you will then get more income. The cost side is basically the other side of it. So how much does it cost to make one unit? Now, many people will say, if volume increases, costs go down. Yeah, well, true. Your fixed costs stay the same, so the cost per unit goes down. Here, we're talking about doing things more efficiently. And so we're talking about needing less materials, fewer people, less energy to produce the product. So actual efficiency, not purely we can do a bit more volume because of the cost. Although, of course, if you can make the volume with fewer resources or make a bit more volume and by that reduce the cost per unit, that's okay, right? But we'll get to those thinner lines in a bit. Now, value. So what then is value? Value is actually a number of potential things. And this is why I call it value. Volume and cost are basically always the same, right? This is more produced for sales. This is less money, dollars, euros, yens, whatever you use, but less of it generally per unit. Value has a couple of sub-criteria, of which again you need to pick only one. One of the sub-criteria, examples. So in that value bucket, you can have a couple of different focuses. Still, you pick one focus, but think of stuff like that. Maybe lead time is important. Lead time for the customer is important, or maybe lead time is just super important for your own supply chain. Strongly linked to lead time is also reliability, right? Reliability of service, reliability of your own production. Pushing things into your supply chain can be, these can be internal or external. Complaints, right? Basically, quality is so poor that your customers complain about it. So it's a very direct quality thing. Environmental parameters. I mean, you could be reducing environmental impact because gas, water, land, all kinds of regulations, they cost money as well. You could do it for cost reduction, but you can also do environmental impact reduction purely from the value that it brings, purely from that you as a company or your customers maybe demanded of you want to reduce your environmental impact. Now you immediately see that there are a couple of things that can be in both categories, right? Or even in all three, like defects, for instance. If you're producing defects, you have not produced that volume. So if you have serious defect rates, that same percentage is lost potential volume. You're paying the material cost, the handling cost, or whatever cost of those defects. And defects lead to complaints, right? So, and they ruin your environmental impact because you're making them twice. So the underlying problems, they can affect a number of parameters. But, and here comes the thing, as a OpEx program, you need to know why you are existing, why you are targeting your improvements, and what is the push for your organization. Assuming you can keep the other two the same, right? Which of these really needs to improve for the health of the business? What is your strategic goal? See, if, and let's take those defects again, right? And some other things. If your company says, we need more volume, then you're going to go into that analysis and say, okay, so which of our lines are bottleneck lines? Which of our products do we actually then need to push? Where is that volume push? And you're going to look at your processes, your production, your supply chain with the lens of where is it stopping me from getting more volume? And maybe one of your lines just has a 10-15% defect rate, which not only means that that has to be remade, or maybe you can still rework that same material into a good product, but it costs you time, right? It costs you a lot of time. And perhaps also when this is detected, they shut down the line and only an hour later everything is back up with new settings. So it can cost you a lot of time on your machines that you have defects. But if you have just a whole bunch of breakdowns and a couple of slow running products, and from time to time you miss things, as in your ingredients are not ready when a process is supposed to run, so they have to redo a whole setup, it takes a lot of time. You're basically OEE focused here, right? So output, OEE type of focus. And there you're going to look, those defects, are they one of the major contributing areas? Maybe they are, maybe they're not. If they are, you're going to dive into them, solve them. If they're not really significant in your volume question, let it just be solved in the daily operation. Let the small improvement teams, the problem solving, so that the daily Kaizen, try and take care of that, but you don't focus your program on it. If you had a focus on cost, well, those defects, then you're going to look, what is that defect doing? Is it ruining all of the material? Because then they will jump out in the cost aspect. But if you have a lot of defects and that ruins all of the material, they're going to be on number 1 or 2 in your cost category, especially of the cost waste, right? Because we're not really all that interested in the cost that really needs to go into the product, the value add. We're interested in the waste. But maybe in cost, your maintenance department is just hugely expensive and all of the spare parts that they put in. And all. So again, the same parameter defect, it depends on what is the problem. Now, if you have a very serious customer satisfaction push, so you really want to go for, maybe complaints here is slightly too narrow, that you really say we want customer satisfaction. If you go for something like that, then complaints, they really are caused by defects. No defect, no complaint, right? Defect does not always equal a complaint, but the other way around, basically always. So then they become hugely important. So that same underlying problem, how does it compare to the other things? So let's say that you have that factory, right, that has pretty high breakdowns and those defects in there. And we also, well, basically those two. How do they compare? When we have a volume push, we're probably going to look into the amount of breakdowns because we can solve those and get volume quickly. When we're looking at cost, well, improving OEE when that does not really lead to more volume is not very valuable. So maybe you still do need some of the volume. So the cost actually, it's nice to have, right, more OEE because you can divide the fixed cost, but probably the defects are going to win out because they cost a lot of material. In customer satisfaction value, it is gonna win out on solving those defects because they're ticking people off. So that's the reason why this focus decides whether or not we're gonna put something in our top 3. That is the next step. We need to get 3 areas that are really impactful on our strategic direction. But to do that, you need to start off this new year by having a good discussion with senior management. Which of these is our focus direction, our strategic direction to move operational excellence? Please do pick one outcome. That same direction can still mean we work on sort of the same underlying areas and objectives, but when we get into our analyses and we see a number of problems pop up and we need to choose which ones to focus on, we need to be able to get back to our compass. Which of these is the direction our organization wants to go towards? So, do that. Tell me in the comments, has your organization truly picked a strategic direction? Or do you even think maybe that one of these should always be the direction for an operational excellence program? I would love to hear your thoughts and comments about it. Also, comment with each other. Let's make this a good year of learning together. And I wish you a lot of success getting this through with senior management, because that is not always easy. These are quite serious discussions that sort of need a good facilitated workshop. If you need me for that, let me know, but I'm sure you can also do it. Make sure you have this discussion with your senior management. For now, I leave you with the best wishes for this new year. And as always, don't forget to also enjoy the continuous improvement journey.